Welcome to Totally Talent Podcast by HR.com, your go-to source for all things talent. Whether you're looking for expert insights on high-volume hiring, the latest trends in recruitment technology, or strategies for building a winning team, we've got you covered. Join us for each episode as we dive deep into the challenges and opportunities shaping the talent landscape today. Let's get started.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Totally Talent here on HR.com. I am your host, Mike Wood, and today we got a special episode. I have Greg Summers. He is the CEO of Orion Talent. Hi, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing great. Mike, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I will say that I have a new puppy in the house, and so that's been a little crazy.
Yeah,
I was getting up in the middle of the night again to bring people to the bathroom and whatever. So, but I'm good. But I'd love to talk to you about Orion Talent and what you guys do there.
sure. Before I do that, though, we have a 5-year-old Bernedoodle, Grady, who I just looked at a throwback picture from when he was a puppy. So definitely remember those days.
Yeah,
Very
it's
much like being
and
a
you
parent.
forget easily how bad the nights can
Oh yeah,
be.
oh yeah,
Uh,
just like
but
parenting, but a lot of
yeah.
fun as they get older as well too. So thank you again for having me on the show. I have been in the talent acquisition, human capital management space for 30 years. I started out in recruiting, in technical recruiting with programmers and engineers. It was really how I broke into the space. I started in school in the engineering space. So it was my desire to learn a little bit more about what people in those roles did. And I really just fell in love with learning more about the roles themselves, learning what people did, and having the variety of helping people get jobs in spaces and fields that were really interesting to me personally. So that's how I started in this space about 30 years ago. Over the course of time, I've been in every aspect of this space, from technology to operations to sales and management, here in the US and also across the globe. And so I've had a great experience doing that across my career. I joined Orion about 2 years ago, and it was really a special opportunity for me because, having spent as much time as I did in the industry, when I got called for this particular job, what I recognized was my depth of knowledge and understanding of working with veterans who were specifically transitioning out of the service wasn't as broad and as experienced as I actually thought it was. And so it was, from a personal perspective, a great opportunity for me to work with a workforce population that I thought was amazing, and have learned that every bit of that has been true over the 2 years I've been working with the team here and the people that we support to find roles as well too. But also equally important, the types of opportunities that we're facing here in the U.S., the types of job opportunities that are available and are really truly in great demand, are a great fit for transitioning veterans and people with the skills and experience that they have. And so it's a great moment for us, especially across manufacturing, to find ways to engage the type of talent that we find coming out of the service. So it's been a great experience so far. Really love the work that we're doing. I love how we've transformed this business, which is a 35-year-old business, but right now is really evolving into something to meet the market needs. So it's been a great time so far.
So let's talk a little bit about like what veterans go through normally when they're hiring. So like you guys exist because there was a disconnect between the skills that they're getting in the military and how they're listed to how they can actually translate that over into like current jobs, right?
That's absolutely right, Mike. And even with the advent of a number of new technologies in the space, including some of the technologies that we're using, artificial intelligence technologies, matching and automation technologies, there still is a gap in translating those skills that service members have across every branch of the service to the specific roles that they would be fit for in corporate America. And particularly, I would say, some of the technical roles, but even some of the non-technical professional roles that they fill as well too. And so that's really the gap that we fill. They do get some support through their transition assistance programs, their TAP programs, as they're leaving the service. But what we find is um, the challenge of identifying what would be a good fit for them, if you're thinking about it from a service member's perspective, is truly acute, because for many of them, they've not worked in the corporate world before. So understanding how their skills line up is something that they might need additional support for from people who are on the outside, people who understand what the roles are and what employers are looking for. And that's the work that we do typically, I'd say anywhere from 3 months to a year before they transition out of the service.
That's great because I'm thinking like if you put the reverse on there, like let's say, so I wasn't in the military at all, but if I was supposed to go in there in my 40s, like I'd just be my head would be spinning and whatnot. So it's a whole new world that these people are coming into. And I have a good friend who was in the Air Force. He just retired. He's probably like 40. So like he
Yeah.
retires at 40 and now he's got 25 more years of work to do.
Yeah.
But he is actually in extremely high demand because he was a logistics guy for the Air
Excellent.
Force, and so like he's constantly getting these like these logistics jobs, and like any time that I would want someone with leadership or courage under fire type of thing, always go to the veterans. I think
Yeah.
they can often be overlooked. But I love the work that you and some others are doing in getting them transitioned back into civilian life. So, what
Yeah.
other issues are you seeing just across the board?
Well, I'll take your friend's example, not knowing him, but just when we think about demographically speaking, service members who exit at that stage, not only have they typically not worked in a corporate environment before, more often than not, they've got family considerations. So they might have a family at that point that they've got to understand. The statistics are when you think about people exiting the service, about 65% of them don't stay in the place where where their installation is. So many of them, I'd say about half of them go back to where they're from initially. The other half of that 65% actually go somewhere else where the job is. So more often than not, 2/3 of the time, they're not only exiting the service, they're also leaving where they are currently residing. And if they've got family considerations, school considerations for children, that's something they also have to put into the mix as they're starting to think about where the opportunities lie. So, contemplating how the family fits into the mix for the change is something that we experience and that we see, but also translating some of those technical skills in particular to help people understand how they align to the systems and equipment that might be used. So you talked about the leadership skills; those are the things most people understand. Um, what they also sometimes overlook is the fact that people who are in leadership roles in the service have responsibility for millions of dollars worth of equipment. So when you're talking about P&L management, they don't use that term, P&L management. But when you're responsible for $40 million worth of equipment that you need to get out to the field, that's exactly what it is. So it's little things like that that are really neat to understand about the experiences that they have and to help them translate that into something that is the vernacular, the language that people in the corporate world speak.
I feel like I mean, you can feel free to shoot me down on this, but I feel like there could be a premium on military in the future because those are designated, like those are skills that we know that they have. It's not just a paper skill that somebody could use AI to come up with. It's more like, okay, I know this person had been on the ground or they served in this tour or whatever. So it
Yeah.
just, I think there might be a premium on them in the future.
Absolutely is. Absolutely is. And I think, again, taking for granted the decision making in difficult situation, the leadership responsibility they get managing teams, some of the technical experience that they get working on HVAC systems, for example, nuclear systems in the case of the Navy. Those are all technical skills as well that most organizations are starting to understand, and you're starting to see that take shape with some of the large super scalers and other organizations in that space that are starting to build programs to attract military talent. Most organizations, statistics show about 70% of organizations are doing skills based hiring right now. And at its core, that's exactly what military recruiting is, it's skills based hiring. And organizations are absolutely starting to recognize that people who are transitioning out of the service have the base core expertise in technical skills and managerial skills or leadership skills that they can develop and move more quickly into some of the roles that they have. So there's going to be high demand, continued high demand, I think, for people who are exiting the service.
Now, just in terms of, I'm just thinking through, like, if I were to hire, from the military stuff, do you set up pipelines with different kind of areas where people are transitioning out? Do you make sure, like, okay, this is who we are, this is what we provide? You do all that?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
absolutely right. And these days we're leveraging the technologies that we put into place to understand where they are, what their skills are, when they're coming out, what they're looking for, and when to stay engaged with them for the next opportunity. Because in many instances, the organizations that we work with will make an offer to someone 3 to 6 months before they actually exit the service, which is great because it's one less worry for that transitioning service member to know that they actually have that job. And what I would suggest is if you're hiring, you know, 4 to 6 weeks before if you're thinking about it 4 to 6 weeks before you have to hire somebody. That's not really pipelining. Getting to them 3 to 6 months, a year out, as they're starting to think about their transition, is exactly the right time frame because it gives them time to really think about what the best next move is for them. And that's the work that we do with transitioning service members on the base, at meetings, in some of the engagements that we do in the local markets where they reside so that we can meet them where they are.
So I have to ask you about AI because everything's about AI nowadays. Like, how are you using AI within Orion Talent to help people?
Yeah, it's amazing having been in this space when the internet first came around. It was one of those things that was a pretty significant impact to how organizations recruited. Um, but I will say it's personally fair to say that this last 18 months, at least, if not a little before that, have been unbelievable with respect to what's happening. Some of the statistics say that as much as 90% of organizations are going to be using AI in some form, uh, whether it be sourcing or screening for candidates by the end of this year. So when you consider something that wasn't even used as recent as 2 years ago, that the vast majority of organizations are going to be using it, it compels organizations like ours to find ways to use it so that we can invest ahead of where our clients need to be. And that's exactly what we're doing. So we're pairing some of the voice enabled artificial intelligence technology to help with that first touch with candidates that are transitioning from the service to make sure that we can get to them immediately when they reach out to us. And we're actually using it to collaborate with our own team members to ensure that we're getting the people who are first and foremost most immediately looking and in need of initial conversation, and also to give us a way to organize and structure our re-engagement with them so we know what they're looking for, we know where they're looking to go, and when we get our recruiters on the line with them, we can talk specifically about the opportunities that might be a good fit for them. So we're trying to pair AI in a way to make sure that our team can get to every single person that comes to us, that reaches out to us. And that's a great thing because right now, what we're recognizing is over 75% of the people that are engaging with Juliet, our agent, are having conversations that are as much as 8 to 9 minutes long. And it's useful information for us, but it's also proven to be a useful experience for the service members that are transitioning and other people who are engaging with the technology that we have as well, too.
Yeah, so what I'm seeing, so I cover the space, and what I'm seeing is that screening call is disappearing, and that's great because it's just it's literally a half an hour out of your time that you're like, yes, everything I put in the application is true, and so
Yes.
like I think that's that's great that
Yeah.
really get through to them.
Yeah, yeah, and look, I think we're looking deeper into the workflow as well too. We're a very process-driven organization. We have artificial technology in AI that we're using for automated scheduling. That's something that's become more commonplace right now. We're leveraging similar agentic technology back end and the onboarding part of the process because it's a very administrative process that requires high touch, but also requires just the basic routines of moving steps along in the process to make it work successfully. So we're looking at all the ways that we can leverage it to enhance the process and to ensure that we stay connected with the candidates that are moving through the process and keeping them informed as well too.
Right. So if I'm a hiring manager and I'm hiring for, like, let's say, logistics, and I know that the military is great for this, who do I reach out to in order to make sure that I'm considering the military? Do I reach out to Orion Talent and you can help me find the right people?
Yeah, yeah, but I would say one of the things that we've experienced in talking with our existing clients and prospective clients that we work with is that the real first step is internal. It is in recognizing within your own organization um, those individuals that also have a shared understanding that the military talent pool is a great fit for your organization, because the translation concern is real. And if you don't have the support internally for people to open the aperture and think structurally in a different way than what they do about looking for the talent, then the challenge might be you might identify that talent, bring them into your organization, and the understanding of where they fit and how they fit not being so clear means they may not stay. So the first step is internally to creating the right environment to receive service members that will be a good fit for the organization. And yes, I think we would love the call. Reaching out to us would be a great next step. We help organizations prepare themselves for that. We help them understand how to align and translate their jobs so that when we give them an MOS code for a service member and we say that that aligns to this particular job, they understand not just the code, but they understand the why behind how this individual or how individuals with this background align to fit what their needs are. And when you get those foundational elements in place, you're in a great position to be able to start engaging with talent that's transitioning out of the service.
So I'll put you on the spot a little bit just because I'm interested. Do you have any clients or any in your 30 years? Do you have? I'm looking for if there is someone that had a military job that transferred into a job that you had no idea would have been an immediate like skills transfer that was a success. Do you have any of those type of stories that like, wow, this guy he was in charge of tanks and now he's in charge of a fleet of trucks?
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. There are literally tens of thousands of those stories, Mike. And I'll just share a personal one that was interesting. One of the things I've appreciated most about taking on this role is in the first month I was here, I had people who I've never met and never talked to before call me and tell me that they were really excited that I took the role. They were really excited about the work that Orion continues to do, and that we placed them several years ago in their first job. There was a CFO of a large Fortune 500 company that came to me and said, your organization placed me 25 years ago in this role. If I can help you in any way, please let me know. And I'll tell you, again, having spent 30 years in this space, having one on one conversations with literally hundreds of people who have sent an email or made a phone call about that, about the experience they had with us, helping translate their skills into a role that they didn't, in some instances, know they were qualified to take, has been a very rewarding experience for me. So I've got plenty of stories like that. And they run a gamut. It's across every service that we support. It's not just the technical roles that we might support in transitioning sailors that are coming out of the Navy, for example. It's also in every other branch of the service. And it speaks to the point that I was mentioning earlier about skills and opening the aperture to understand where a broad-based set of skills can translate into what the needs are right now.
Love it. I'm not in the service, but I am an Eagle Scout, and I was told that like at least like an Eagle Scout, when you're going into that first job, they at least have something they know that you know how to get through a tough process. And so like I've always kind of
Yeah.
carried that with me. And so whenever I talk to somebody and they have it on either buried on their resume or it comes up, I'm like, okay, common sense. I know exactly what you went through to get that and the
Yeah.
skills that you have. So
Yeah.
this is great. What can people do to find out more about you and to find out more about Orion Talent?
Yeah, sure. And listen, you asked. I certainly want to share with others the work that we do. But one of the things I'm passionate about in this role is to make sure that anyone who engages with a transitioning service member or someone who's looking for a role does their part as well to help educate them on the opportunities in their organization and also is thoughtful about how to help retain them as they get into their organizations as well. So if you're interested in reaching out to us, you can certainly send an email to me at Greg Summers, G Summers, I should say, at oriontalent.com, or just go to our website, oriontalent.com. Learn a little bit more about the transition process that service members have, learn more about the clients that we work with and some of the case studies, even speaking, Mike, to your point about the types of roles that are a really good fit for service members and engage with some of the folks on our team. We've got about 45% of the folks in our organization are military connected. So those are those who have served, spouses or family members who have served as well too. So we've got a number of folks across our business that understand that experience in a more intimate way and are able to help those who are interested in either transitioning themselves or hiring service members that might be a fit for their organization.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Greg. I love that you guys are actually helping people. I think that stands out nowadays.
Yeah,
This is great. Uh, Listeners, if you want to check them out, go to Orion Talent, and I'll see you on the next episode of Totally Talent. Thanks, Greg.
thanks very much, Mike.
Thanks for tuning in to the Totally Talent podcast by HR.com. We hope you find today's episode insightful and inspiring. Don't forget to explore more episodes and discover valuable resources at hr.com/podcasts, where you can listen to all of our podcasts. Until next time, keep leading with purpose and making a difference in the world of talent.